Okay, raping babies is immoral. There's immoral facts.
It's subjective.
Look at the calmness with which he said that. The calmness with which he said that, right? I use the example torturing babies. And Justin here is just going to say it's subjective. Now, this is, first of all, you don't have to take the subjectivist approach as an atheist, but at least like if you're thinking about the logical space here, it is possible, logically speaking, to be an atheist and believe in objective morality. Now, most atheists aren't, because a huge problem here is what grounds that morality. Like, what makes it authoritative, or what makes it binding on people? Okay, so he takes the common approach here. Although not all atheists do this, you can be an atheist who's objective, a moral objectivist. He takes the approach that many atheists do, and being a subjectivist about morality. But this gets back to that moral incoherence that I was discussing earlier. The idea that it just, the fact that somebody can sit there with a straight face and say something like torturing babies is subjective. It just based on my feelings, based on how I feel. And if I felt another way about it, then that's just the other way I feel about it. Suppose torturing babies was good. That also is subjective feeling that I could have. And like, there's no constraints on this. And so there's no like authoritativeness, and there's no bindingness on morality at this point. It's just based on your feelings, and your feelings can change.
No, it's a moral fact.
It's subjective. It's opinion.
Is it objective?
This is hilarious here because, like at this point, they're just quibbling back and forth. Like they're naysaying each other, which is not very productive part of the debate. But I wonder here if DZ is doing this on purpose, Justin. I wonder if he's just goading him and just like naysaying him. I mean, he's very calm, so this is very subtle, but
Objectively subjective?
Objectively subjective is not related to morality. Saying that something is objectively, pay attention, saying that something is
that was condescending. Pay attention.
objectively true is not the same as saying that something is objectively moral. Moral is not the same thing as truth claims. If I said it's objectively true that you're talking to me, that is not a moral claim. That's an objective claim
You're
about
saying
the facts of
That's true.
reality. I'm asking you, what is the evidence that objective morals exist, not objective facts?
When I told you, like, basically it's summed up to moral realism. They have a real, they're in reality. That's why they're true, because they're.
Prove it.
I just did.
Notice how the conversation has changed here, right? And that's fine, because normal kind of human language, everyday conversations do develop in this way. They change topics, and that's totally understandable. But in a debate setting, it's not ideal. So they began with the discussion of, like I was saying earlier, if moral objectives, let's say objective morals exist, right? Like moral truths being objective, if that's a real thing, if that's a proper position, then that is evidence for God's existence. And so I understand wanting to establish the antecedent here, that if part, if objective morality is true, which is way Justin is going. But you could attack the whole conditional, right? You could say that's just not a good argument for God's existence, but he's just bought into the conditional. He wants to know if objective morals exist. And so he's switching the argument. But that's important to note here.